Welcome to my living room. My name is Lana Labonte. If this is your first time joining, I am here to support, uplift. Hopefully that inspires and empowers you to be the best version of you you are here and meant to be and do. So, how are y'all feeling in these crazy times? I know I took a little bit of a hiatus. Spent over a month packing up our family home, packing up my daddy-o. I got a TV on a stand back here. I got my dad staying with me too. So like navigating spatial awareness, sacred space, holding space, sharing space, your space, my space, how we merge and how we collide. Because we all have stories. But interestingly enough, the majority of us are still attached, addicted, clinging on to the stories we've been told rather than the stories that are our own. Or do the stories own you? This is the question. There is a clue. There is a message in it for you and me too. Because life is a series of choices and challenges, obstacles, opportunities. Two sides to the same coin. It's very windy outside. The sound you keep hearing over there, that's my broken front door that I let it just, whatever. So, I know I've been gone. I haven't been hiding. Trust me, I'm doing a lot of studying, catching up on life, and enjoying my dad's company. But you and me and all the world we can see, the things going on around trying to hijack our energy and distract us from the internal peace that we can choose, or we can choose to fall to pieces and lose that grip on our own peace. I know I can speak in riddles, I can speak in rhymes. There's a message in it most of the time. I love it when the poetry flows. I've gotten so many downloads, so many memories, and just reminders over these several months. And there's a lot to share, and there's a lot to go over. We are in the portal of the eclipses. We are in the upgrade of humanity, awakening to your personal power, your soul truth. Your heart and soul is always there. So if anyone has any questions, I'm trying to figure out. It's been so long since I went live that I don't even know who's getting notifications and who's not. So let's start where we're at, because that's all you have is in this moment, here, now, and this. And the sound of the cat lapping up her food. That's another thing I have in my space. I have a kitty cat. Her name is Madawaska. We call her Lulu for short. Cats have personalities, and it's quite entertaining, I must say. And different people, different energies will bring out different aspects of their personalities. Just like with us, no different. Animals, humans, we are always drawing out of another. Energetically, we are magnetizing things in and out of each other. We are triggering, we are charging, we are inspiring, we are sparking. When we come together, because humans and unity is what equals humanity. There is no such thing as humans are supposed to be isolated and alone. We didn't come to live in this human existence, this beautiful opportunity to feel through the five senses, to truly enjoy and embody this life, only to dismiss and label it and put it in a box. Because when you put a label on it, you dismiss it. You don't give it its relevance, its due justice, its due appreciation, because the label limits its full expression. And that in itself, when we limit our full expression, we feel this sense of loss, a grieving. When we are putting conditions, putting things in the box, basically the labeling. Anytime we're putting labels on something, whether it's ourselves, other situations, it's a way of, it's a non-confrontational aspect of of like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. If I have like, oh, I have this label and I can put it in this box, I can push it to the side and not necessarily deal with it. So the moment we have put a label on it, we have pretty much shoved it aside. Oh, that's good, it's bad, it's right, it's wrong. See the kitty going by me? Yeah. And I had a girlfriend confide in me this morning. I'm just going to share a little bit of what we discussed, but basically she was noticing some patterns of behavior that were raising to the surface. And as she was explaining to me, because I've also witnessed it in myself over the course of my life, that the moment you become aware of a pattern, you've already disrupted it. Whether it's the first time or multiple times throughout the course of your life, the acknowledgement, the awareness, and seeing it for what it is, not dismissing it and putting a label on it and shoving it to the side, but actually being with it. Perfect example, attachment styles and codependency. We are humans. We're not here to not be with each other. So, hey, Pamela, hi. So good to see you. It's a little surprise today. I have very limited time, but we're going to make this quality time. Juiciness. We are here to be in right relationship with ourselves, and we learn about that through relating with others. The way that we relate with another is really just a mirror demonstration of how we ourselves are relating within to our higher and our lower selves. All the aspects of this human being that we are playing, we're acting out in this realm. So we get to choose. We get to create our story. We get to create our reality through the stories we tell. Or we reinforce with the stories we've been told, the spell that was cast upon us with the words that we choose to tell our story with. See, it's simpler than we make it out to be, but at the same time, it is powerful. There was something that I came across the other day, and I want to share this before I go into more of the codependency and the attachment styles, and when you become aware of things and how that in itself is already shifting your way of proceeding and behaving from that moment. The moment you notice, oh my gosh, this is so familiar. You're not necessarily in the behavior. You just seem to recognize your attempt or it being stirred up in you, trying to pull it back out of you, because the universe is here to polish you like a diamond, to clear out all the junk, to challenge you, to test you, to remind you, is it a challenge or an opportunity? Are you going to see it for its reality and how it is showing up to you? Because of course, again, duality, duplicity. There's always going to be a contrast when you're off scale, when you are swinging under pressure for sure. Swinging on the pendulum of life, you're extremely excited and enjoy over here, but then over here, you're like in the fear department. They're two halves of the whole. Swinging on the pendulum in life is the fabric of this existence. It is a gift. Don't poo-poo on the discomfort. Because as I was expressing to my friend who confided in me, and I appreciate that, was remind yourself that the moment you recognize that old pattern of behavior erupting within you, that in itself was you disrupting the pattern. That sometimes we don't recognize how much we appreciate people until they're not in our presence, because their presence is a gift to us and our presence is a gift to them, as well as your presence with yourself is a gift to you. But for a lot of people, that's where they freak out, because they're not familiar with it, they're not comfortable with it. It becomes the discomfort of being alone in your own presence. Sit with that for a second. Like the codependency, the attachment styles, the need to have someone else around to make you feel comfortable in your own skin. The majority of people don't necessarily like their own companies, but they don't realize that. It's not that they say, I hate my own company. They have trouble being alone because that brings up all the things they don't want to confront about themselves that maybe they're not comfortable with, right? And this may be you. It's been me. I know this to be true because I can only speak from my personal experience. And when I spot it, I know I got it. At one point in my life, I am not going to point a finger without owning the 3 back at me. That when we feel the discomfort of being in our own presence because we're not used to our own solace, our own private time with ourselves, that in itself, here's the beautiful gift of it. You are being given the gift of yourself. You have an opportunity to sit in that knowing that it's not comfortable because it's not familiar, and you don't give yourself the gift of it very often, or it would be more familiar and you would find the comfort rather than the discomfort. So if you are somebody out there who acknowledges, wow, I don't feel comfortable when I am by myself, take a moment and be humble enough to recognize you're growing. Because in that discomfort is the opportunity of growth. We don't grow inside our comfort zone. And most people won't see this as that opportunity until someone gives them the spin of a different perspective. So this is what I'm sharing with you today. Thank you to my dear friend that brought this up. And I ran into another friend. Like, this is a theme that we are learning to really embody, to be present, even in the most discomfort, the most projectile vomit of like, I can't handle this. I mean, this energy, it's stirring stuff up. And you know the emotional center, so if you're out there and you've been nauseous and feeling like, why am I feeling like I want to vomit? I'm one of those people too, and I only know because I've been experiencing it and going, whoa, what's something stirring up in me if I'm feeling like the urges of like purges. And it's fascinating. I'm like, wow, look at you, and you're human. Look at your human is like, it's growing and evolving. Feels like shit, feels like death, because guess what? That is the cycle of life. Death, rebirth. Even in the time when you think, but I'm still alive, so I'm not really dead, but some people are technically, they're dead before they're dead. You know, they're not living their lives. So when you feel and you recognize, let's go back to this, like you're like, wait a minute, I'm all by myself. I'm not used to this. This doesn't feel familiar. It doesn't feel comfortable. In that discomfort is your opportunity. You are already growing and evolving. And the more you give yourself permission to feel and sit in that discomfort, it will become more familiar. It would become more comfortable. That when you are in the presence of others, number one, you'll appreciate them just as much, if not more, because you recognized when you missed them from being alone before. But also, I'm the same way, Pamela, but it took time to get there, right? We weren't always comfortable in our own time by ourselves. There was that period of our lives where we were like, well, I'm supposed to be with crowds. I'm supposed to do this. And let's go out for happy hour and let's go hang out with these people because I work with them. Or, you know, we do a lot of things because we think we're supposed to. Expectations of our work environments, our peer groups, school, etc., etc. Like we're from those technology glitch. Ooh, we paused. I don't see no. Oh, here we go. Really bizarre because I have it on Do Not Disturb. I don't even know why that came through. Mercury at its finest. I just gotta say. I love my own company. I am perfectly fine being alone, but can you see me? Let me know in the comments. It's glitchy today. I have to remind myself we're in Mercury retrograde shadow. So the technology is definitely kind of like our nervous system. If you're fried, ooh, your wires get crossed. Weird things happen like this, and it's okay. So, wow, that was wild. But this is what we live in. Like, this is the human existence, is like duplicity, duality. Two sides of the whole are always presenting themselves. And then when you recognize two halves of the whole, Even the half has two halves of its whole. And that's the fractal. Like the deeper you go, the deeper you dive, the higher you rise. You know, I love to say that because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the high rising, but I'm also here for grounding in my physical body and embodiment, like somatic, feel it, to heal it, to reveal it, and really reel it in, because we came to feel it all. We are not here to dismiss it because it's discomfort and I don't like it. Guess what? That's the moment you go in the mirror and you go, how you love it, liking that stuff? Hi, human. Oh, I see you. I see you in your suffering. I see you in your resistance to what is. I see you in your addiction to wanting things to be a certain way. And when you don't get them, you get upset and you throw your baby tantrum. Look at you and your baby tantrum. It's okay. Pout all you want. Go deep into that shit. Enjoy it. Feel it fully. You know why? Because that's what we're here for too. We're not just here for the feel goods, the comfort zone. That's not where you grow. It's in that discomfort you are growing the most. And let me tell you, I know there's not a one person who's not touched or affected by this right now. Tell me you're not. Because I know I am. And I say that with love from my heart, truly. Because when you acknowledge this, when you really like come to grips, like grasp it, it is tangible. You feel it. You may not be able to see it. You might not, even if you try to label it, you're going to ruin it. Just allow it. Because what you resist will persist because you're fighting against it energetically. You're pushing it away. And it's like, okay, if you push, you must need me more. You don't realize that the boomerang effect is that you try to throw it out, it'll come back stronger. You push the ball down under the water, it will come up in your face even stronger. We're here for it. We're here for all of it. You may not remember, but you agreed to it. And the reality of this realm is for you to acknowledge there's beauty in it all. That what you resist, that resistance is what's causing your suffering because you're addicted to having it your way because you have an expectation. And when your expectations don't get met, pity parties, whining, moaning, groaning, resisting. What? Enable me, entitle me. What the hell? What's going on? Why am I not getting what I want? Well, you never considered that maybe it's because the universe knows what's better for you. How about the fact that it's okay to not get your way? Because it's this or something better on the way. God has a bigger, better plan for you. You need to trust in that. Literally. And this is a funny play on words. There's a reason why we should all have living trusts, to place everything into that. Put all of it into the trust. To protect yourself on all levels. That's another story for another time. But in the duplicity, in the duality, what people fail to recognize is in that discomfort, you're supposed to celebrate that just as equally as you do when you're excited and you get what you want. If you can't appreciate not getting what you want in favor of something bigger and better, you're not gonna even, you may not even see it when it comes at you. And you have to be good with feeling. You may not like the way you're feeling. It's not always about feeling good. It's about being good at feeling. That's embodiment. Like, I am in this. I'm full on in this. Whew. Ugh. Ugh. Like I said, some people are feeling like the urge to purge. I was like that last week, like leading up to this full moon, lunar eclipse, Mercury retrograde shadow, everything else that's going on. The question is, though, are you being present with yourself? Yes, honoring your feelings is the healing. That is the medicine. Feeling is the medicine because you are the medicine. You are what you need, not anything outside of you. You are the guru. That's why it spells G-U-R-U. It's you, and you know what you need. It's just most of the times we've been conditioned, we have to ask. We have to have conversations around it. Sometimes it is nice to have a conversation with another person and hear your own words because that's what you're meant to do, is hear your own words, because in those words of yours lies the solution. Not lies, but in lies within you. It's not outside of you. It's all within you. You are the guru you're seeking. So stop seeking external distractions. But we do it. We do it. I'm even here to say it. But with the Mercury retrograde shadow in this eclipse period, it's like, ooh, go with the flows rather than fighting the current. Because when you push against the current, it comes back stronger at you. If you can truly surrender and trust in the divine and being protected and supported, which you are, your avatar, your oversoul, your higher self is always watching out for you. You're the one who contracted with yourself to come here to live out this experience. And I guarantee you may not remember, but this is all meant to be, all of it. So like, go in the mirror and just, again, hey, you know, I see you in your struggles. I see you in your like baby tantrum. I get it, feel it all. And when you're ready, you can choose at any time to shift that, to change that, to focus where you want to be. You have to know where you're at, though, to know where you want to go. You can't dismiss the discomfort and assume you know where to go. You have to literally figure out, so what is it about this that I dislike, that I am fighting against? The moment you identify that discomfort, you have disarmed it. It has no power over you unless you sit and wallow in it. We are not meant to stay in the discomfort. We are meant to just appreciate it for what it is revealing about ourselves, because that is the revealing of the feeling. Here's the gift, maybe without a bow, but I am presenting it to you if you're willing to go with the flow, if you are willing to really sit with what it is that's coming up. Doesn't always feel that way, but usually, you know, they say, you'll look back on this too and just be laughing at it. You know, this too shall pass. I know there's a lot of cliches. There's a lot of sayings that people are like, ugh. And like I shared with some friends today, I said, you know, in this world of influencers, in this world of like, we got the labels for narcissists, we got the labels for psychopaths, we've got labels for all sorts of stuff that's happening in the world. We've got this huge wellness community, this healing environment, shadow work, psychology, all the labels that come with that. Try to stay out of those circles to the point where you're not in them fully, because when I say this, I mean like sometimes you can get stuck in those areas. And then you're perpetually on the wheel of thinking you're broken and you have to consistently, oh, well, there's some reason for this and I have to figure it out and I have to nip it in the bud and I got to heal it. When in reality, if you just gave it your presence, it will reveal the gift that comes of it. Oh, my daddy's home, so you're going to get to see him walk in right now. So the other day, in addition to this, I want to share, there was a video that I watched and I found it very beautiful because, again, if you watch me, if you listen to me, you also recognize I am all about language and words and spells and noticing the duplicity in the words and hearing beyond what the word really means. The alliteration, the expression, the creation, what it is revealing, what it is reinforcing, what is the reality, and what is the complicity and the complacency of going with the story. So for example, okay, you know, I talk about words cast spells. And if you have to choose your words well, or you will reinforce the spell with the stories you tell via the words you're choosing, because everything's choice, and choice is your superpower. So here's what I wrote up. You know, I say govern means to rule over, and ment means mind. Mente, okay? That was Dad. Casting spells through codes with their chosen words. I wrote this down because it just flowed. They've got us under their spell with us reinforcing it so well, casting our own spells, but most are unaware of the word's power over them, with the stories they tell reinforcing their own mental hell and prison cell. Franchise words is what the guy said in the video. The government has a copyright on their code. Think about that. And that actually makes so much sense, because if the government is to rule over the mind, then of course they have a copyright over the words, the codes, and what they say that they have taught us through our indoctrination, education, whatever you want to call it. By you getting us to use the same words that they have under franchise, they've got us reinforcing our own spells. You have to break the spell by changing the words and the stories that you tell. That's the only way to do it. So as he said this, I'm sitting here going, ooh, I get this. Because let's go back to the black magic. It's the black magic language of sorcerers. We're talking about the same people back in the day, the snake oil salesman. Forked tongues, reptiles, and snakes, using their words, places you in their jurisdiction. Now there's a word we don't break down very often. Jurisdiction. What does diction mean? Dictator. Dictating, diction, speak. So the juror, judge, of diction has you thinking you're dictating, but it was just the power of suggestion. So they are taking the words and they are dictating. And through that dictation, you are capitulating, you are repeating, you're reinforcing, and now you're under the jurisdiction. Tell me that's not some black magic messed up sorcery. That's a spell in itself. Reverse speech recorder is fun. If you're making a sound, it's making a frequency and a vibration. So in reverse, it makes a sound of frequency and vibration, so on. Remember when they used to say, if you play a record backwards, it's the devil? Actually, I'm starting to understand it now, because of course, what is live backwards? Hey, 144, it's so good to see you. I know, I had pop on. I'm very limited. I probably have about 10, 15 minutes max. But it's very, very important, especially right now, because we are in the process of breaking the spell. Many of us are breaking the spell ourselves, but it's up to each individual to do it for themselves. The words we choose either reinforce the spell that was cast, or it creates a whole new reality where we get to be the writers of our own script. Not only the writers of our own script, but also the stars of our own show, not playing in someone else's. And it is definitely an inside job for sure. And there's the duplicity in the languaging, right? So it's an inside job where they're all in on it, but it's an inside job for you too, to get in on you, not on them, and not to let them infiltrate you through their inside job, infiltrating you with their spell casting, with the languaging, the words, their codes that they have franchised. Let me know in the comments how that resonates and drops for you. How does that land, actually? Where do you feel that? Like, that's some crazy voodoo magic. And I was like, wow, that really brought that. It was like, ooh, I feel that one. Jurisdiction. Black Laws Dictionary. You got to get into all of these like codes, and you got to break things down. You got to get the Dictionary of Law, because we weren't taught this. This is the stuff that was withheld from us. How important it is for us to know thyself, as I say every time, know thyself, or someone else will tell you who you are. This is a spell cast, and get you to play by their rules. Jurisdiction. The juror will rule through the dictation that you are taking in through the power of suggestion. So here's another book. Be the one to execute your trust. This is a fascinating read, and it has a lot of very important information that everybody should know. And it's not necessarily just about trust, but in you should trust. You should put things in trust. When you learn to trust yourself, you'll learn to trust the process and allow yourself to truly be guided by your inner self. So, I know the other day I was really like, I was with my dad and we went to the beach and I wanted to have something. Well, we went for brunch because that's a thing. Food is a love language. So I just randomly picked a place and we went there. And the first questions I always ask are, what kind of oils do you use on the grill? And of course I got soy and canola, which I don't know who out there decided we needed to use oil, especially rancid processed oils that are full of heavy metals, cause more inflammation in your joints and cause more chronic issues as well. But we used to use butter, tallow, and lard. Anybody want to explain to me why they dropped off this other stuff? Oh, I remember. I know for a fact it's all about fillers. It's about saving money. But it's also a domino effect, because if your inflammation causes you dis-ease and you go for the first thing as the doctor, like trying to figure out what's wrong with me, nobody ever stops to look at what they're choosing to put in their own mouth. See the hand? Don't bite the hand that feeds you, but recognize it's your hand feeding you, and that it's the choices you make to put what you do in your mouth. Whatever it is you choose, there are two things that are more important than anything. And the first one is, what's your mindset? Do you value yourself? Or do you just shovel in whatever is available? Do you actually take the time to honor and nourish? And I'm not just talking about the food, but literally like talk with gratitude to your body. Like, I'm so grateful that you are so tuned in and tuned up that you just take everything and turn it into fuel, and you just, wow, I love the way my skin looks. You know, you have to have a good dialogue with yourself. If you have inner talk that's very negating and negative, and it's self-deprecating and judgmental and ooh, you know, because judgment is really just you comparing yourself to any person, place, or thing. Your mindset is the first and the most important thing, because as I say, if you're in a mood, I'm in a shitty mood, and then you reach for a certain food, most of the times it's a comfort food because you're in a mood, and you're habitually seeking to soothe that mood based on some unexpressed trauma, unresolved, and also non-confronted, because most of the times people are totally oblivious and ignorant to their own addictive qualities and reaching for something to cover up for something they've been dismissing and repressing and just, I don't want to see it, you know? So when you reach for the food, when you're in a mood, what are you going to do? You're going to reinforce the mood, because it's a vicious cycle. But the moment, this is the disruptor. See, here's the thing about disruptors. They're diggers. And I like to say bulldozer deep seekers. I wrote this down too. Yeah, this is what I do. Disruptors are diggers, bulldozer deep seekers. What does it mean? It means, oh, that's an old pattern, and I normally am reaching for food. Now, here's what I do sometimes too. When I am in a mood and I catch myself, I'm going to share, this is the thing. Okay, so there's this cookies and cream chocolate ice cream, but it's not ice cream. It's coconut, it's cashew milk, and it's by 𝐲𝐲. It's not the best thing. It's pretty sweet. And I've been known to eat a whole, small container of it. But ultimately, I'll catch myself like, wow, ooh, I'm eating this because I'm going through some major changes. But I acknowledge it. I don't deny it. I'm like, okay, boy, you know what? I'm okay with this because this will pass. I know. I saw what you said, Pamela. This too shall pass. But you know what? With ourselves, it's like, I've been here before. I'm going to get through this because I've done it before. And if I've done it before and I've made it through it, then I'm going to be okay again. It's just in this moment, maybe this is where I just want to sit. And I'm okay with that. But you have to recognize the pattern and be confronted it by yourself about it in a loving, nurturing way, or it will end up being the cycle of dis-ease. Because if you're denying the fact that you're eating a pint of ice cream because you're in a mood, the mood is just getting reinforced. You're not actually solving anything. You're just like, I'm just in a mood. Let me stuff it down, because that's essentially what comfort food does. Is it's like trying to put on layers. And then what do the layers usually really end up doing? They create layers around your belly, your midsection where your emotions are stored. Your belly, your stomach, that's your emotional center. So when you see people with a belly, those are people that are protecting themselves emotionally. That's a manifestation of somebody who doesn't necessarily want to deal with the hard truths the emotional aspects of themselves being sensitive. And it's not a negative thing, it's just the fact that the person hasn't realized it and they haven't had enough compassion to confront it in a loving way as opposed to a judgmental, oh, you're not supposed to be that way. Because that's part of the external noise we hear out in the world. You're going to hear plenty of, you should do this or you shouldn't do that. Like the shoulding's got to stop. How about just acknowledging you're human and saying, oh, because really what it is your inner child saying, you know what, I'm feeling, and you're not feeling. Your inner child is literally suffocating when you're not breathing. Your inability to address feeling is actually causing the distress, the discomfort in your body, but also in your inner child. And your inner child has a lot of wisdom to share with you. She just simply, I say for me, wants to have fun and wants to see everybody happy. But if you can't find that for yourself, it's really hard to influence and inspire others to do the same. And the body is the tattletale on the mind. Hello, when the body has a cringe, a tension, like a stagnant area in it, it's basically saying there's a belief up there or a thought that just processed, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, what happened to my back? What the hell is that? It's your body saying, liar, liar. Have you seen that movie, Princess Bride? It's one of my favorites. It's the one where, what's the name of the actor? Billy Crystal. He's the warlock, the guy that he brings the girl to bring the guy back to life. Anyway, all that aside, she's like, liar, liar, he said true love, because he was trying to make up a different word for it, because really that's what this whole thing is about. It's about love. At the end, at the core of everything, it's love. Love inspires, it motivates. It also puts fear in people. Like love is what makes the world go round. You got it or you don't got it. You're seeking it or you're denying it. It's a push-pull, but it's always available. It's just most people don't even see it. They don't realize because you got to be it. So the body's always telling on the mind, and it's the truth indicator. It's telling you, I feel cringy because that's not true to my belief system. That's not true to my beingness. It's not true with my soul, right? And so the dis-ease in the body is just simply signaling the misalignment in that mind with that belief system and the stories you've created using the thoughts that the mind constructs to build, because the mind's a builder. It's constantly building, right? It tenses when untrue and relaxes with the truth. People reach for comfort foods when in a mood, and that is reinforced by that food. This realm of lies in truths and truths in lies has everyone trying to conform to the external suggestions rather than recognizing and listening to their own internal intuition. It's divide and conquer on all levels. It's up to us to recognize where we are on our scales of consciousness. Hey, I go through waves of riding that roller coaster because I'm human and I acknowledge that. But not everybody is on that level, and it's okay. Most importantly, stay in your lane and stay in your body. Don't try to escape it, because when you try to numb the pain, you're numbing the joy. When you're trying to escapism, you know, oh, let me just go drink up something to cover up and numb up the pain of my past and my trauma. You're also, because the same receptors, the nerve receptors that make you feel pain also are the same nerve receptors that allow you to feel joy, which is why addiction is so prevalent. Because when you're numbing something, whether it's prescription medication, it's drugs for recreational, alcohol, whatever it is, it could be shopping, it could be gambling. When you are trying to numb it out, all that pain, you're unable to feel the joy because you're numbed out the same nerve receptors. And by doing that, what do addicts do? They are constantly seeking a high. And it's the definition of insanity and crazy, because ultimately what you just numbed is what you're chasing. It's just the opposite. It's the contrary. It is the contrast. It is the duality, the opposite yin to the yang to the yin. So when you start becoming more aware of your patterns and you're like, wow, look at that. Didn't even realize I was there. There's gonna always be an opportunity and a challenge, because those are two sides of the whole. So allow the challenge to present the opportunity as opposed to seeing the challenge and resisting it. Because again, when you soften, when you allow, when you surrender to the fact that maybe you don't understand what truly is going on below the surface, that yeah, it's challenging only because it's not what you like, it's a discomfort. It's outside your comfort zone. So because it's outside your comfort zone, you're going to have to learn to be able to feel even when it's uncomfortable. We all love to feel comfortable in our comfort zone because it's familiar, it's predictable, it's controllable. Whereas when you're outside the comfort zone in the discomfort, you're having to go based on the unknown. But the more you spend time in discomfort, that's how you grow the quickest. That's how you evolve. And it is like a rocket ship to all your desires, because it teaches you resilience. The more you're willing to sit in it, the more it's willing to present. It will show you the opportunities. You'll start to look at things differently. Instead of seeing everything as a fight, as I need to like resist. It's not what I want. Come on, life is better than this. Another word that came up the other day that I thought was ironic is somebody was talking about, here's the thing, because I'm allergic to gluten and my dad had a pizzeria. Glutinous and gluttonous sound awful close together, don't they? Never considered this until the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, gluten, you know, bread and circus, you know, they want to keep you satiated or what's the other word? Submissive, sedated, because that's what gluten does. It's a complex sugar. It basically, it sedates you. Believe it or not, gluten is a sedative. Why do you think people drink beer? It's a depressant. Same thing, comes from gluten. So if you think in terms of the Roman times, keeping them occupied with bread and circus will numb you out and sedate you with this food. I really do believe there's something to be said about this. By numbing you out with the gluten, you will be more highly suggestive through the circus. So if you are not in an awareness that picks up on things and connects the dots and sees the patterns out in the world and how that's a distraction to keep you off your path and outside of yourself because you need to be here, not out there. Awareness is one thing, you know, okay, I know things are happening out there, but to be so fully in that means you're not in here. That's a hijack. That's a take you out of your body and push you out into the, say hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Okay. So I'm gonna wrap this up anyway, but just keeping that in awareness.
Okay.
I love my dad, seriously. And it's sad because unfortunately we're in a world where so many people are easily influenced by the marketing, and I don't care what it is. It can be the self-help, personal development world, you know, improvement, right? The more we, and especially because I am in that world, like the more I am around it, the more I realize how easy it is to get sucked in and think that there's this constant striving to fix something when in reality, you just need to live. Turn off all the social media, go outside, get some fresh air, live, enjoy, because everything else is a distraction. We're here to be fully present in the life. But with all this fear-mongering propaganda and the idea that there is something bad in the world happening, yeah, and there's a lot of good happening in the world. Remember, the news is northeast, west, south, right? And it's always there to tell you the doom and gloom. It's not there to uplift you and inspire you. It's there to keep you entertained. Listen to my words. I will repeat them, and then the power of repetition, because what is the key to mastery? It is repetition every time, whether you're hearing it or speaking it. your cells of your body are hearing it. So just remember, like my title on this says, we are only familiar. We all know just the stories we were told. We don't necessarily know our own story. Most people are still waking up to the fact that the story they've been living isn't even their own. It was the power of suggestion, whether by parents or by peers or by marketing. Television, tell a lie, television. I will channel the information, receive it, repetition, power of suggestion, mind control, basic psychology, actually. None of this is surprising. And so when they come out and say, oh, we didn't know, bullshit. You knew. You knew exactly what you were doing. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to go into that conversation because it's not worth it right now, but I just wanted to reach out, say hello, let you know I'm still here, and I got all sorts of surprises coming up. So if you have any questions, comments, leave them for me. Sharing is caring. Remember to hit the like button. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell. And that, truly, my biggest desire is that you are the happiest, the healthiest, and the holiest. You got all these holes you could ever be in this life. Much love from my heart to yours. Remember, you have the power. Now you just need to step into it. Create your life, create your reality, and write your own story. Stop letting others tell you your story and stop reinforcing that spell. It's time to break the spell. That's the end. Or it's just the beginning.